first, cheese is put in this, if it's a mass production, a cheese vat where we heat the meat to get all the harmful bacteria out. And the process has to be very carefully done because different kinds of cheese have different kinds of tastes, and all those factors have to be considered. After the milk is heated to get rid of the bacteria, then we leave it for about 30 minutes for it to cool, and then we add starter culture, meaning that is, first we add rennet, which is a protein enzyme from animal stomach, and then that helps to thicken the milk, and then the curd is made, and then a lot of things afterwards. We have a curd knife and we cut the cheese, the curd, and get rid of all the liquid. Afterwards, we put the milk. It'll be like yogurt, still not fully done. So we put it on a draining table, and the draining table is a little slanted, so all the excess liquid that's left is drained out, and what's left is what will be cheese. And then what do? If it's blue cheese and things, we add a mold. We then put it into hoops lined with muslin, which is a fabric that's to further get rid of the excess liquid again. We leave it in there for about 24 to 36 hours, in which time we turn it a few times, giving it like a few turns. Then it's salted. That's to help preservation of the cheese and to add the taste. And then it is stored in usually barrels and put in air-conditioned rooms, never in warm rooms, because that's going to make the cheese really gross. And then we leave it for, however, depending on the different kinds of cheese, you can store it for a different amount of time. And then it's cut up and put into stores for us to eat.
Great. Perfect. So we are going to see, hopefully, some mozzarella cheese made today. And so we're going to show you a bit about that process as we visit the restaurant.
I mean, like, it didn't look, it's not difficult, right?
Yeah.
The hands get super soft.
That's always a plus.
We sell a lot of these. All three of the variations we sell a ton.
So is that,
This is how it comes out as. They get it from the supermarket in bricks. What does the raw product taste like?
Okay, so we have raw mozzarella here. It just has been processed and everything. So it's very light, it's very fresh, not very salty, not strong flavor. Very creamy. And then we have prepared mozzarella, spices, and the oil on it. I haven't tasted yet.
This is the final product.
Just after it's been processed, it's been heated and stretched.
So from this to this, beautiful plate right there.
Cut that, show you. It's like an eraser.
Fresh.
You can see the difference between that and the fresh ones that we had earlier.
Yeah. How is the taste? Is it any different?
This is much more cheesy. Texture is a lot softer, but easier to taste it. It's just a lot closer to what you think of as mozzarella cheese. Yeah, it has more texture.
Okay.
Like this flavor, actually think of.
What about you, Ellie? What do you have to say?
So
Taste
cheesy.
it.
That's some cheese. Let's do this video too. Here, we'll taste the part.
course, it's definitely softer than the one before. And the flavor's a little bit stronger too.
Okay.
Too close.
Now what?
Too close.
It's really
There's salt.
okay. Okay. Camera found people. So,
It's good, much better, right?
so what was different about the process of cheese making here, similar to what you researched?
When it's done from the beginning, obviously it starts off with milk. Here we start off with this. Much easier, I mean, for a restaurant, obviously. Something like this is much better. We started off with milk. As I said, the shaping, he did the shaping. It's very different from the full process of making cheese with milk and with everything than this. That's it. It's really different.
And was the final product what you expected?
Cheese is everything I expected. I don't know how. I mean, it's different kinds of cheese. It's different, the taste and everything. So, without being specifically told what mozzarella cheese you expected, well, yes, mozzarella cheese is very stretchy. Yes. Then.
Okay.
Walking and I had like a couple of buttons undone, like my apron, my jacket was tucked outside of my apron, right? Like, and then I walk in there and there's my restaurant chef, and he was a big guy like me, and he's just like, no. So he takes the apron off, does my tie, puts a hat on, ties on my apron. He's like, now you're ready to go wash dishes. And I washed dishes for like 3 weeks. Yeah, to wait to get my turn to go cook. Yeah. So I was, it was awesome. And then, you know, you just absorb everything from there, right? Like you just watch and listen and smell and you taste it, right? There was just so much energy. I guess that's what I really like fell in love with right off the bat. Just something that I guess could match my own, right? But it was cool. You know, there's lots of great places you can go travel, right? I've traveled quite a bit with it. There's just a ton of opportunities to do it smart, right? No, but that's it, you know? Work hard, work smart, right? You know, there's going to be like a lot of people behind you, right? So you got to kind of drive yourself. That's what I tell all these guys, right? Like, you got to drive yourself, because if you want that next job, if you want to go be that, you know, work the next station, the next higher station in the kitchen, if you don't push yourself to do it, there's going to be 50 other students behind you that'll run right by you to get it, right? So you kind of got to always be there first and just constantly push yourself. It's exhausting, but it's fun. And you have to work on this stuff. Especially if you get into a really lucky restaurant, right?
This is one of the first years their program is doing like all like butter for a pastry instead of margarine or lard, and like actual vanilla beans and vanilla essence. So the chef was telling us how lucky they are, because before they use like the bottled essence and stuff. Now it's all fresh vanilla beans and stuff.
Yeah,
so it's great.
Well, I mean, they're not cheap, right? I mean, that stuff is an expensive kilogram, right? But that's the great thing about, I guess, the next generation of culinary that are coming up, is that I think they're getting taught, like, in the schools. Sure, you could have gone to CIA or something like that in the States, but it's like $100,000 for school, right?
I was like looking at the state schools actually.
They're phenomenal. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the campuses. I've been to the one in Napa Valley, and remarkable. Like, it's unbelievable.
If you wanted to make this cheese at make this at home, type cheese to make at home.
Well, how would you make it at home?
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's where it get a little more complicated. That's where you have to, like I explained before, with getting the rennet, which is, you know, something that you're going to need to use in order to split it. into making the curd so that you can end up doing the process of it. It's simple enough. There's just techniques that you have to follow and rules that you have to follow in order to finalize have a product like that, right? But it's definitely something that you can make at home.
So if you learned that, how have you been working with cheese? When did you start making cheese?
Well, I mean, I guess it's always been a part of any restaurant that I've ever worked at, right? Really nice cheese plates, cheese boards, bringing by a la carte cheeses at the end of a meal, right? Something that I've always enjoyed, before or after a meal, right? So I guess ever since I've started in my career, it's always been a big part of the kitchen, right? Whether in whatever aspect you're using it.
Do you have any advice to offer to culinary students starting in the industry?
Keep that one candid, but yeah, I mean it's an amazing industry, right? It's something that if you're lucky enough and you're strong enough, and you have a lot of willpower, that it can definitely benefit you in the long run because of the many positives that we have working in it. The types of ingredients that we get to work with is first and foremost like the most intriguing, and what you can actually do with them is just such an amazing skill to have and to see and to respect, right? So I guess one thing that I would say is just be ready to work very hard for a long time, because I think you have to miss a lot of things in order to really succeed and put yourself ahead, right? Because we're never closed. And when people are going out for dinner, that's when we're working, right? When holidays are around, that's when we're working, right? So I think they really have to be ready to sacrifice things. But in the long run, if they work hard enough and smart enough, then the benefits are definitely there.
How can you make more cheesier, like stretchy cheese?
Well, I think making it's all dependent on what obviously kind of cheese you are. Stretchy cheese is young, you know what I mean? Like you can't stretch a Parmesan because of the lack of moisture that's in it, right? Because it's been dried for 1 to 2 years, right? So I think there's brands out there like that make. It's hard because I think all of that stuff is made with preservatives and additives to make it stretch longer, to have that, cheese factor when you're eating it from here and it's in your hands out to here, right? So I think there's additives in there that I personally don't really know, but I know there's products out there that's called easy melt cheeses, right? Things that have additives to them to make them creamier, longer, cheesier, right? So I'm not 100% how to do it. I'm more of along the natural, less is more type thing, but it's something that easily a Google can find it, right? Google can find you out.
But do you guys any cheese, any of your baked products or desserts, just because we're making students?
Do we have which?
Any cheeses used in baked products in
We don't have anything here, but I mean, like there's tons of things that you can make, savory to sweet. It's all about balance, right? Balance in the dish that you're creating, right? If you want to do like a really nice warm strawberry compote and you have like a goat cheese cream on top of it, right? So it has that creamy texture, a nice acidic fruit, right? All types of souffle with a type of cheese in it, right? Like there's lots of, that's the best part about cheese, is that it's so versatile. You got all different walks of life when it comes to the cheese, right? Smelly, stinky, and just like, oh man, that's gross. But and you've got sweet cheeses, right? You've got cheeses that already have sweet in it, that people make and introduce, right? So I think it's endless, the amount of options that you can have. Endless. Cool.
Thank you very much.
Very happy to be